and the freshman in the starting lineup for Duke. There's 6 different starting lineup this season.
And Clemson wins the opening tip as we are underway. They have not won at Cameron Indoor in their last 20 tries. So that's how futile it's been. Will today be a different story in a couple of hours? Chase Hunter lines up the first one, but can't hit it.
Going to be very important for Clemson to get a good start here. This is not a building you want to get off to a slow start and allow Duke to build momentum.
Well, that is for sure. With the great success they've had in this building, all-time 955 wins, just 173 losses. On the move, swooping in, McCain will drop in the first 2. Nice move by the freshman.
And we're watching Jared McCain grow right before our eyes. Pretty much a shooter for the majority of this season, but starting to do more things off the bounce.
Starting line for Clemson. Hall getting 20 a game. He's going to need a big one. So will Joe Girard. Shefflin has been outstanding on the glass, and Clemson on the board.
And I love the matchup early, going inside to P.J. Hall, giving a chance to go one-on-one against Filipowski and winning the first one.
All preseason first team all ACC, averaging 20.7 rebounds a game. Kane on the outside comes in, averaging 12 points a game. Duke has 5 guys averaging double figures. Pass was tipped. Mitchell got it back and lay it up and go to the line. Mark Mitchell looked very healthy and spry against Louisville after missing a couple.
Jared McCain, such a great shooter. You have to run him off the three-point line, but showing how his game has progressed, how he can get to the rim, and P.J. Hall showing all the progressions in his game, back to the basket up against one of the ACC's best and winning the battle.
Joe Girard will pick up the foul, and Mitchell to the line after missing a couple of games. He worked for 34 minutes against Louisville and put up a nice one, a double-double in that easy victory for Duke to improve to 14-4 and 5-2 in the conference.
Yeah, not just your average run-the-mill double-double, a 20-12 performance against Louisville, and the second time he's done that in the last 3 games that he's played, OB. So Mark Mitchell playing his best basketball of the season.
So Jon Scheyer was hopeful that everybody was healthy again, but now all of a sudden Roach with a new injury, nicked up with the ankle. Here's the touch by Wiggins. He left that one short, came right back to him, in and out of his hands. And they'll look at each other. It'll go the other way. It'll be Duke ball. Brad Brownell, head coach for the Tigers. He has been Clemson's top man since 2010, trying to get them back to the NCAA tournament, just 4-13 against the Duke Blue Devils.
But when you consider the era in which he's coached in, having 4 wins, you know, against Duke is not bad, considering he went up against one of the best in the business.
Sure.
And speaking of best in the business, this gentleman replaced the best in the business when you talk Jon Scheyer now in his 2nd season as the head coach for the Duke Blue Devils.
Filipowski will lay it in as he went strong to the 10.
Nice pocket pass from Tyrese Proctor coming off of that screen and roll action. Jon Scheyer loving the way Proctor's playing right now.
Boy, look at McCain hit the deck as he went for it. It's going to be Clemson ball despite his protest, but a tremendous hustle.
But you see the dime drop by Proctor, and then just like that, a little bit of collision, but these 2 guys, Filipowski run away. I mean, when you run into P.J. Hall, it can hurt. And Filipowski feeling a little bit of that one on just a little love tap after he makes the bucket.
7-footer, feeling the effects of that. All at 6'10". Fumble there, right around the hash mark. He nearly lost it. That pass almost got away, too. Here's Hunter beyond the 3. Shot clock is down to 1. Will they get it in the air? The answer is no. There was a whistle on the play. There's a foul. The shot clock was winding down to nothing. McCain picks up the foul. But did the shot clock expire before that?
Well, I believe that's what the officials are going to go over and look at. They're going to see, did the foul happen before the shot clock expired? Or actually, will that be a shot clock violation? Got a great crew going over to check it out, led by Bird Smith at the monitor.
Along with Lamar Simpson and Tommy Morrissey. Take a look at the top of your screen. Yeah, that's at 0.
I'm not sure on that one, OB. I believe that contact may have happened before the end of the shot clock. So that one may actually end up being a foul, which is tough luck for Jared McCain. As we look at the shot clock, there's the contact. It's considering when the whistle was blown, that may end up being foul number 1 on McCain, and Clemson avoiding a mistake of not recognizing the shot clock.
Boy, awfully close. As they head to the monitor, all 3 of them there to take a look.
And what we're seeing right now, early in this game, Brad Brownell having to go to the bench, get Josh Beadle on the floor, because the matchup with Wiggins having to defend one of the perimeter players for the Blue Devils was going to be a struggle. So they make the substitution early, and Beadle, as he checks into the game, doesn't recognize the shot clock going down, but very well could have been bailed out by Jared McCain.
So our first controversy here today, 17:36 to go. And Clemson gets it in. Gerard off the fake. Hall in traffic, flipped it up there, no basket, as he was fouled before the shot. And that foul will be charged to Caleb Foster, the freshman for Duke, his first. Tigers have been a very solid offensive team all season long, averaging 81 points a game. They shoot it well. Nice fall away there for 2.
And that's the guy they have to get going. Chase Hunter has to be aggressive for the Tigers to have an opportunity here in Cameron today. He's the guy that had a huge breakout season a year ago.
On the corner, McCain, no. Rebounded away by Sheffield. He's been a rebounding monster.
Unreal. And Jon Scheyer talked about what he does, not only on the defensive board, but also in the offensive glass.
He finds the open man, and Hunter drains it. He has 5 quick points here. He's only hitting 28% beyond the 3-point line, but you can't be more open than that.
But Chase Hunter in his 5th year in college, redshirted the season. Now, when you've been in this building a number of times, the crazies aren't as crazy anymore.
Well, that's a man's move by Filipowski. Just couldn't finish it. ACC preseason player of the year. And it's Clemson by 2. Beadle will launch it. No. And kicks to Proctor. Proctor coming off a huge game. 24 points. And a rout of Louisville, a career high. Filipowski too strong. That's when he can hit, though. He is 40% out there.
And that's a differentiator for both these guys. When you look at he and P.J. Hall, both are capable of knocking down the 3-ball. P.J. on cue, stepping up and knocking down the trail 3.
Already you're starting to feel a little, anything you can do, I can do better among the bigs.
Well, when you think about these 2 bigs going at it, they're 2 of the 4 preseason first-team All-ACC bigs. P.J. went up against one Armando Bacot where he lost that battle. So he's looking to get some retribution here against Flip.
Can't run it out. Clemson, 5-point lead very early. Hunter wants to attack. Got it up on the 10. It won't drop for him. Foster for McCain, the freshman, who had a standout game against Pitt in that loss that we talked about. Here's Mitchell open. Yes, sir. He'll drain a triple.
And Mark Mitchell struggled to shoot the basketball early in the season, has since found his confidence. Jon Scheyer says he's been so much more decisive as of late, knowing when to shoot it, when to just drive it, and when to make a play.
Hunter's going to go hard. He'll draw the foul. Mitchell came to try and defend, and he hit him. 10-8 Clemson.
P.J. Hall has not won in this building. However, he's gotten off to a great start trying to find his route. Chase Hunter stepping up, knocking down the 3-ball, and P.J. on the trail, hold his 3 up as well.
So 15:04 to go here in the first half. And Clemson with a 2-point lead here on the Duke Blue.
See him back on the floor. He missed the Pittsburgh game a week ago where Pitt was able to come in here and get a win.
Myron has more.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't practice at all this week. I mentioned the Pitt game that he missed. Didn't practice leading up to Louisville with a knee injury, and then he plays against Louisville, and he suffers the ankle sprain. Last 2 days, he has not been in practice, and Jon Scheyer was preparing to play without him. And then today, he said, listen, I want to go. And Jon Scheyer said that's part of that senior leadership spirit that he's demonstrated. He said it was a miracle for him to come back. And they're just a different team with Jeremy Roach out there on the court.
They absolutely have been, Myron. If you go back and look at what has happened for the Blue Devils this season, you would have to say that Although Kyle Filipowski's their best player, Jeremy Roach may be their most important player, and you've seen how that manifested a week ago when they took the L on their home court without him.
I know it's really early, but the Tigers coming out, playing well in the first 5 minutes. And if you don't do that, oftentimes as a Duke opponent, you can get buried right away.
Yeah, but Obi, this is a veteran Clemson Tiger team. You've got a lot of experience on this group. You're talking about 7 seniors and graduates. So many of these guys have been through the fires here before.
Chase Hunter gives it up here for Beadle. Beadle on the spin. Shot clock down to 8 left and well short. So Duke on the attack. Duke making 48% of their shots. And look at that veteran group for the Tigers. So they ought to be able to come in here and play with composure.
And I don't believe any of them have a win in this building, so that's also going to be some extra motivation.
But Mark Mitchell working hard, looked very healthy and spry against Louisville after missing 2 games. He played 34 minutes, had a double-double. He has 6 quick points.
And we're saying Mark moved to the 3 now with Sean Stewart starting to get more and more minutes, double-figure minutes for him the last 2 games for the Blue Devils. Jon Scheyer talked about he makes them more physical and, of course, a bigger team when Stewart, the McDonald's All-American, gets on the court.
Hunter back outside for Hall. He just hit 1 triple. He misses this one. Comes in at 20 points and 7 rebounds a game, the senior. And now Roach with a touch for Filipowski, averaging 18 and 9 on the back down, and a foul with 13:22 to go, and offensive on Filipowski is first.
Obi, you can get away with the first bump, but the second bump, a smart defender is going to absorb that contact. They're going down. P.J. Hall, we talked about him as a veteran, and he cut his teeth on defense. Started out being much more of a defender than he was an offensive player. The offense has grown, but he cut his teeth on being a defender, and a smart possession right there by P.J. Hall.
So Filipowski will take a seat. 6'10", Ryan Young, the graduate, into the fray. Godfrey outside the 3. Dylan Hunter, Chase Hunter's little brother, will shovel it here for Hall. Shot clock down to 7. The pass tipped, it skipped right there. Either with a miss. And a rebound by Tyrese Proctor, coming up 24 points against Louisville. And for the sophomore, that's a new career high. Mitchell taking the baseline. Almost hit it. He'll be headed to the line.
There's an example of that decisiveness that Jon Scheyer talked to us about. Mark Mitchell, as soon as he caught the basketball, recognizing the defender, closing out on him, gets to the mid-range, but doesn't over-penetrate and pick up the charge, gets to the mid-range, pulls up, and is able to draw the foul and get to the free throw line.
Clark with a personal. Mitchell makes 73%. We talked about the big rebounding game, the double-double that he had against Louisville in that game. Duke wound up with 15 offensive rebounds, and both coaches talked about how big that stat will be today.
It absolutely will be. When you look on one side for the Clemson Tigers, Ian Shefflin's one of the best offensive rebounders in the ACC. And then you talk about the numbers that the Blue Devils put up at Louisville. They were all over the offensive glass. Between Mark Mitchell and Flip, who had 15 rebounds in that game, they dominated the game.
Foster coming on now, the freshman, a 6'5 freshman from Harrisburg, North Carolina. Ranked as one of the top 25 players in the country out of Notre Dame High in California. Mitchell to the bench for a moment. There's Gerard back in, 42% at that three-point line. Dylan Hunter. Godfrey lets fly, and he swishes in a triple.
And Godfrey, not known as a three-point shooter, however, he's capable of making them. When you take those dare me shots, they basically dare them to shoot that, and he makes them pay.
Son of the longtime NFL linebacker Randall Godfrey,
who was a Cowboy, by the way. Even though
I knew you'd get that.
Even though Jay Lucas and I are you're still a little bothered by what happened with our Cowboys.
There's no way that moment would have passed without you mentioning your beloved Cowboys.
You know what? It's basketball season now. It's just basketball. Let's think basketball.
Dylan Hunter with the foul. Foster, another Blue Devil who can drain the 40% there. Stewart coming off the bench. Jon Stewart at 6'9". Here's Roach. And Jon Scheyer wants him to take more three-pointers. He hits 46%. Going to drive and test that ankle. Slam right back at him by Clark. In transition Hunter, and that'll drop.
And for those that don't recognize, we got a technical foul.
Technical on Clemson.
Is that going to be Jack?
So after a ticky-tack technical, it'll be Roach at the line on the other end at 86%. I'm not sure where anything merited a technical foul, but 11:45 to go. And Clemson with a nice quick start on top by 4. Duke has beaten Clemson 20 consecutive times here at Cameron Indoor. Have to go back to the 94-95 season last time they won here.
I believe Brad Brownell is telling Burt Smith right now, Dave O'Brien just said that was a technical foul. We should not have gotten that one.
He's right about it.
Yeah, we've seen much more aggressive technicals, to say the least.
Well said on your part. Roach with a pull up from about 12 feet.
Well, that's where he missed that free throw earlier, so he had to get right back to that spot, knock down the mid-range, and get 2 for that.
He's been so steady throughout his career. Captain and 1,000-point scorer for the Blue Devils.
And has played so many different roles for the Blue Devils. You go back to thinking about he was on that team with Paolo Banchero, and of course Trevor Keels, all the NBA draft picks.
Shefflin denied, ran into a barricade there. The follow won't go by Godfrey. So Duke very stout defensively in the paint. Over the top. Mitchell went for the catch, and a whistle with 10:55 to play in the half. And a 1-point game. 2 more games highlighting our ESPN schedule tonight. Number 6 Kentucky taking on Arkansas. Sonic Blockbuster at 6. And we cap the night with Alabama hosting LSU at Coleman Coliseum. Both games available on the ESPN app.
And you go back and you think ACC, SEC challenge. It was actually the Duke Blue Devils who lost at Arkansas, and then the Clemson Tigers who went and won at Alabama. So both those teams playing after this game. A little bit of ACC, SEC tie.
Arkansas, one of my favorite venues in the country to see a college basketball game. Godfrey picked up the foul moments ago. Proctor leaning in. It won't drop. Batted around. Tigers really hitting that glass.
Interesting to see if they make the same level of noise in Arkansas for Kentucky that they did for the Blue Devils, because it was off the charts.
So far, Girard has been a non-factor. He comes in averaging 15 points a game. Jon Scheyer said when they win in the ACC, he's one guy. When they lose, oftentimes he didn't score at all. And the drive, heavy traffic, and made the shot. Dylan Hunter off balance in the paint, takes the hit, headed to the line.
And the new hairstyle has worked well for Dylan Hunter early in this game. His second basket. He's a little more sleek right now, OB, and he's finding his way to the free throw line trying to complete the three-point play.
McCain with a foul. That'll be his second. So a 3-point lead. Clemson trying to make it 4. Hunter not at the line very much this season. It showed there, but a second effort. Ball out to Girard. No.
Great look for Girard. Always the best time to shoot the 3 off the offensive rebound. That's normally a shot he makes. You're talking about a young man with 349 made three-point field goals in his career. And you see his numbers in the wins versus the losses. A 20-point-per-game score in ACC wins this year. Only 11.5 in the 4 losses.
Closing in on 2,000 career points. Over the shoulder intended for Shefflin.
And that's one you got to get it on the glass. Allow Shefflin to have the opportunity to put it back in.
Nothing but net by McCain.
That's what happens when you make mistakes on the offensive end against Duke. Jared McCain, Caleb Foster, Jeremy Rhodes, Kyle Filipowski. They've got so many shooters that can hurt you when they get easy looks in transition.
Roach 46% out there. McCain 41.5. Foster 40%. They can drill those threes. So can this man. Girard gave up the dribble. P.J. Hall with a fall away. And Filipowski with a rebound. He's grabbing 9 a game. He has 23 career double-doubles. Nice spin to the paint, but no. By Filipowski, but he steals it. Proctor. Chase Hunter, shot clock inside 10. Down to 3. Hall with the left. Mitchell will start the break here for Duke. Blue Devils at 5-2 in the conference. 1 week before their first showdown with conference leader North Carolina, who won again today, 10 in a row for the Heels. That's going to be short by Proctor this time.
That's a feeling good shot for Proctor after knocking down the last 3 in transition. But one of the characteristics we talked about from Brad Brownell, you got to limit turnovers and limit the threes from Duke.
Chase Hunter in a blow by. Hunter went for the dunk. He thought he got fouled on the play. Still debating that. They've got numbers. Filipowski can't stick it. He's had kind of a rough first half.
He has, and one of the things that he's had to do a little more in this half than he normally does is have to go up and contest another guy similar to him on the defensive end of the floor, having to battle with P.J. Hall. So you can see Filipowski a little winded right now, having to go up against P.J.
Now those two may wear each other out. Here's Gerard. That missed badly. He also hasn't been much of a factor.
Obi, look at everyone walking down the floor. I think each and every player on the floor is looking to the immediate timeout. They can't wait. Somebody might just throw the ball out of bounds to get a little bit of a stoppage of play.
Gives you an idea of the tempo of this one. Tipped away with 6:49. And here's that timeout to give everybody a breather. 21-18. Both teams need that bench for a couple of minutes here at Cameron Indoor.
Teams average over 80 points a game. The pace has slowed significantly. A hard shot from Joe Girard leads to these 3 guys walking up the floor. P.J. Hall needs a break. Everyone looking for the media timeout right now. They cannot wait to get to the Gatorade cooler, OB.
Everybody's just taking a stroll. And this was when they went to the bench. Filipowski clearly in need of a moment. He's not alone.
He's not far from alone. Everyone on the court at that point was looking for the next timeout. They were all happy with the deflection going out of bounds. Duke maintains the basketball, but each and every one was looking to get a break.
And Filipowski still with some after effects have taken that shot to the solar plexus earlier. Here's Mitchell. Trying to make a move in close. Mark Mitchell, yes. A sweet shot by the 6'9" sophomore. He's got 10 points.
It's almost been a tale of 2 seasons for Mark Mitchell. The non-conference, he wasn't the guy we were expecting to see this year, but he has taken off in ACC play. We talked about the 2 double-doubles that included 20 points over his last 3 games, and off to a great start here today.
Beadle finding the blue lane, flips it up there, and it's going to drop. He got the roll on it and took the hit too.
Josh Beadle, who had a strong performance at Florida State the last time out for the Clemson Tigers, attacking the basket and able to finish. Looking like our guy Myron Metcalf. Myron, what you got for me down there?
Well, I mean, exactly what we just saw in the timeout. Brad Brownell was saying we got to convert. If you're not going to convert, you got to at least draw fouls and be aggressive around the rim. And it looks like they took his advice, fellas.
That's something like Myron when he was attacking the basket back in the day. I can see him going up to going to the rim strong, finishing, getting to the free throw line.
All eyes on the 10.
And missing the free throw. Of course, yes. Hopefully Myron was making his free throw.
So 3-point lead for Duke. Is Young on the high post. Gave up the dribble. Mitchell has been a hot hand. Foster back for Proctor's triple. Well, he's about 35% there, the sophomore, but he's coming off 24 against Louisville. Didn't miss much in that one. He has 6. And this is the biggest lead so far today for Duke, up by half a dozen. Wiggins on the turnaround, around and out.
And Tyrese Proctor knocking down the 3 with the basketball, probing in transition right now. Looking very comfortable. Myron, what did Jon Scheyer tell us about Proctor?
Oh, my. Oh, my.
He said, if you all can hear me with this wild crowd, he said he knows that he can be aggressive. And when he plays like that, it just changes the dynamic of this team. He wants them to dictate the action and not wait for it to happen.
And he also said the second half of the season, last year, he played with a different swag. And right now, it's looking like his swag is back.
Duke on a 14-2 run to open this thing up, and Tyrese Proctor, factor #1 as he drains another triple. And over his last 3 games, he's averaging 17 a game.
He's been much better since coming back from injury. Turned his ankle in the game at Georgia Tech. Since returning, he's been coming off the bench primarily. Was a starter here today, but over 17 points per game over his last 3 games, Obi, as you mentioned. But he is playing with a different level of confidence now than we saw from him to start the season.
You could tell just that little shake of the head after knocking back another 3 out of 4 beyond that line already. For Hall. They got to turn to him now, and those big shoulders of P.J. Hall. Got bottled up there. Shot clock down to 5. Rebound tipped, and that's going to be Clemson ball. And meanwhile, the other guy the Tigers really rely on, along with P.J. Hall, is Joe Girard, but he has not been able to get going.
But you and I, and of course Myron and our great staff, Kim Belton, Griff, all of us watched. We were involved in the film session today with Duke as they talked about the scouting report and how they wanted to guard Girard and give the Blue Devils credit for following the scouting report.
Again denied. Loose ball comes to Filipowski. Great save by the Blue Devils. Leading by 9. Filipowski. He's in the paint. The big fella leaning in and almost went. It was in and out as he took the foul. And unable to rise right away. And take his time here after drawing the foul with 4:24 showing. And with Mitchell and Roach returning to the lineup the other night against Louisville, he had 17 points and 15 rebounds. That kind of took a back seat for Duke. Let's see what's up here.
Well, Filipowski, whenever you're tying up that shoe, normally it's going to be the ankle, and right now you see Filipowski's reaction. So he immediately goes to tie up that left shoe. That's the ankle. You see the ankle. He lands on P.J. Hall's foot, goes down, but that's the old pickup basketball trick. When you go tighten up that shoe, you normally know that that's the ankle, but you can still play through it. So you get up, shake it off, get to the free throw line.
Well, number 4 scorer in the conference, number 4 in rebounding. He's had a terrific season. Outstanding career. ACC preseason player of the year, preseason AP All-American as well. Makes 70% at the line. He'll have another one coming.
Obi, we go back and talk about in shoot around earlier today. Duke brings out the flat screen and we sit behind the flat screen and watch, and Chris Carrawell going over the scouting report, and I mean they were locked in. It's different from the film sessions I used to be in back in the day where I'm nodding off in the back. It's probably because they had him standing up on the court. That's a difference maker right there. If they would have made me stand up in class, I would have been a much better student, OB.
Is that the reason why?
That is it.
I didn't want to go there. Here's Hall. You Virginia guys, you have a different standard than the rest of us. Here's Beadle backing it away. Shot clock at 5. Knocked away and stolen by Filipowski. That'll trigger it for Proctor. Outside for Roach. He'll penetrate. Mitchell grabs the rebound. Filipowski went up high, and that was inside the cylinder, so he interfered with it. And it'll be Clemson ball when we come back with 3:47 left in the half. And Duke leading at 20. Hall, who has not scored in the last 12 minutes for the Clemson Tigers. That had better change quickly.
It really has, so he's going to have to be special for them to get an opportunity to win this game. And trying to get him a look on the perimeter when the Duke is switching on the pick and roll action. Caleb Foster doing a great job getting back to P.J. Hall, forcing the turnover.
All right, meanwhile, we're what, a week away between the rematch of the great rivalry of North Carolina and Duke. The first of 2 for the regular season. Of course, on ESPN, Foster straight on, left that one short. Right now, North Carolina is just absolutely rolling.
They absolutely are right now. They've shown to be the best team in the ACC, but a tough task for the Tar Heels next week as they come into this building, which of course is always going to be a difficult place to play, especially in that rivalry.
Lining up a long one. Foster, yes. A triple. 32-20.
But this is when Duke is most dangerous, when they've got all the shooting on the floor. We talked about the different guys who are 40% three-point shooters for the Blue Devils, and we didn't even mention Kyle Filipowski, who's dangerous from beyond the arc as well.
Clemson really cold. 1 for their last 10. Trying to end that. Hunter couldn't do it. Left it shy. Foster just drilled that 3 a moment ago.
Right now, Caleb Foster, that's a mismatch. You've got to be able to find a way to go past Ian Shefflin with the switch. Now they're calling it out. You got to clear everybody out.
10 to shoot. These are two teams that did not turn it over very much at all. And Josh Beal held up and fouled. So it'll be Duke at Carolina. And the first of those vaunted tussles coming up next weekend.
The Blue Devils have been sharing the basketball extremely well. You've got 2 40% three-point shooters in the corner. Tyrese Proctor picks Jeremy Roach, who makes the extra pass to Caleb Foster, stepping up, knocking down another 3. Obi, you and I watched this team make 9 three-point field goals in the first half at Pittsburgh on the road. They show just how dangerous they can be when they're making shots.
Filipowski with his second foul to put Josh Beadle at the line. Beadle came off the bench last Saturday against Florida State. Gave him a big boost with 12 points.
Yeah, he was really good in a big win for Clemson, going to Florida State, who's been playing great basketball, now losing 2 back-to-back games at the top to Clemson and to North Carolina coming in. Florida State still at 6-3 in ACC play, close to the top.
Roach bouncing for Mitchell. Off the fake. Foster can't cash in. Minute 40 to go here in the first half. The scoop shot won't drop for Beadle. Loose ball on the deck, kicked and saved by the Tigers. Tigers will swing it. Chase Hunter to the paint. Yes, sir.
Nice play by Hunter, getting to the painted area. Playing off 2 feet, spinning, and finishing in the blue.
So Duke taking the timeout on top 32-24 over the Tigers of Clemson. One of the payoffs there.
That's absolutely great to be able to do that, but also to be able to hang out with Dickie B. Just watching a game in itself, sitting on the couch hanging out, that's a treat all alone.
Well, Hall at the line as he was fouled on a play by Caleb Foster. Number 2 on the youngster. All at 80%. It's been a rugged first half for him. And we'll drop in number 1. And 2 of the top teams in the SEC square off in our ESPN Sunday afternoon women's basketball matchup. Tennessee taking on Ole Miss at the Pavilion. Coverage beginning at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. Of course, the women's college basketball, South Carolina reigning supreme. Great win at LSU this week. It was a spectacular environment.
That was a great game. I was locked in from beginning to end on that one.
Mitchell off balance, burst it up there, comes free to Hall. All these final moments belonging to the Tigers. On the drive and kick, here's Hunter. Balling up, trying to keep it alive. He tapped it right to McCain.
Great opportunity for Clemson right there, unable to knock down the 3. But that could have made it a 1-possession game going into the halftime locker room, and now the Blue Devils with the opportunity to hold for the last shot.
This game's tighter than you might have thought. You know, just a few minutes ago, it looked like Duke was getting very comfortable. Not so much right now. Roach almost lost it. It's rejected right back in his face by Godfrey. That's how the first half comes to an end. Big momentum to win this game unless one of those guys starts to do what he's capable of doing offensively.
They absolutely probably need both of them to be able to show up to win this game, especially on the road in this environment.
Filipowski, first touch of the second half, barricaded in along the baseline, and he's going to travel with it and turn it over. So good start for the Tigers.
And the Tigers trapping defensively. We didn't see a lot of that in the first half, and Filipowski caught it on the block. But Brad Brownell making the change and bringing the double team forces a turnover in the first possession.
Again, Clemson has not won on this floor since the 94-95 season. It's 20 consecutive losses to Duke at Cameron Indoor. But Duke has suffered 2 defeats here this year. Here's Hall, and that one didn't touch the thing, and it'll go the other way as let's bring in Myron.
Here, you got the Cameron conundrum where obviously Brad Brownell talked about taking the crowd out of it, obviously limiting turnovers. Clemson had 4, keep the Devils out of transition. Duke had 10 fast break points. They did do a good job of making it ugly. Clemson shot 29%, Clemson 38%, and then don't make Sports Center. There's still a lot of time for them to end up on the wrong side of a top 10 play, fellas.
Yeah, that's a TBD as far as don't make Sports Center. But talking about those turnovers, Clemson did not turn it over for the first 10 minutes of the game. All of those came in the second half of the first half.
And Clemson had a lead through those first 10 minutes, up 18-15, and that's when Duke went on the run, was those turnovers started, and went on that run and built the lead up to 12. But Clemson closed the first half on a 6-0 run that allowed them to make it respectable going into the halftime locker room with some momentum.
P.J. Hall with his first foul. And another one on the way for Filipowski. A 70% foul shooter. 7 double-doubles for the season, has 23 in his career. The 7-foot sophomore with his second shot. He has 4 points. It's been a quiet day for him so far.
It has been, but you mentioned the sophomores, OB. When you start thinking about Filipowski, Mark Mitchell, and Tyrese Proctor, those 3 guys all could have entered the NBA draft a season ago, all deciding to come back. And they're now starting to show that promise that we expected to see from them last season. The trio was spectacular at Louisville, and looking to get a win here at home.
On the other side of the floor, Girard had a pretty good look on that curl. So even the relatively easy shots he's not making. He's not taking many either. Kane off the fake. Filipowski straight on. A lot of iron, but can't hit it. 34-26, the Blue Devils gunning for their 15th win of the season. That's Filipowski with the stuff. Clean block to trigger the break. Foster will give it up. So does Mitchell. Foster. Oh, that's a tough shot in traffic.
And Caleb Foster, known as a shooter, but does a great job attacking the rim. When you get ran up the 3-point line, you've got to have something extra in your package. Caleb Foster showing he's got it.
Ball feeding Shefflin. No, and they whistle. And the opening few minutes here of the second half. 17:58 to go, and they're going to get Duke and Filipowski for his 3rd.
And you talk about Filipowski's been a little quiet on the offensive end, but look what he does to separate and give space to his teammate. He seals off not 1 but 2 Clemson defenders to give Caleb Foster an easy run to the basket.
And 3 fouls on the big fella.
But I give him credit. He's also got 4 block shots in this game, so he has been aggressive on the defensive end, attacking Clemson shots when they go to the rim. He's going to take his seat as Ryan Young checks in for Filipowski, but he is going after everything on the defensive end of the floor, just a little over-aggressive on that last possession.
So Shefflin, a 6'8" junior. We'll see if we hear more from him in the second half. He had 17 rebounds in their win over Pitt. He's been tremendous on the glass, but pretty quiet himself.
Yeah, you talk about 2 road games for Shefflin between Alabama and Pittsburgh. He had 31 rebounds combined in those 2 games.
It's really been an X factor for the Tigers. Foster with a pull-up. Can't drain it. And Girard averaging 15 a game. He's about 20 a game in the ACC when they win, 11 a game when they lose in conference play. Here's Hall, way short. His tough day continues. It was tapped out by Duke.
And he just got coached hard by Brad Brownell, who stepped onto the floor to speak to P.J. Hall to make sure he could hear him with a loud voice on that possession.
Brad trying to get Clemson back to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 21. Although they were robbed last year, they should have gone. They got snubbed.
You can say that about a number of years that Brad Brownell's been on the sidelines for the Clemson Tigers.
You're right. Wiggins on the entry will hit 2. John C. Wiggins, 6'10" sophomore with a bucket. Back to a 6-point game. Now you hear it, Cameron. So you're always waiting for the breakaway for Duke, for them to find 5th gear and take off. As the opponent, you have to do everything you can to find that moment and keep it from happening. Here's Mitchell swatted away by Hall with a foul. With exactly 17 minutes to go. And
Obi, how about the scoring in the NBA this week? Joel Embiid, 70 points. Karl Anthony Towns, 62. Devin Booker, 62. Last night, Luka Doncic, 73 points.
What's going on?
I tell you what, it's a number of guys on this floor right now. Mark Mitchell, Jared McCain, Caleb Foster, Tyrese Price. It's a bunch of guys, PJ Hall, that want to be playing in that league sometime soon, especially when you see those type of numbers going up.
And Elaine bullying his way in. Tough play by R.J. Godfrey, who comes in averaging 7 a game. He has 5 points so far today. Five-point lead for the Blue Devils and the ball. Foster drives it and draws the foul. He's not afraid. He goes in very strong, the freshman from Harrisburg, North Carolina. You always wonder about the first, 4 or 5 minutes in the second half against the Blue Devils. And I know Brad Brownell talks about this with his team all the time when he comes in here. Has been unable to solve it because they haven't won here in so long in the last 20 tries. But when Duke decides, okay, we're going to put the game on ice, oftentimes it is the first 5 minutes of the second half.
It absolutely is. And when you think about this Clemson team, you also have to remember this is a veteran-laden team. So you've got a number of guys who have the experience of being here. PJ Hall, the last time he played in this building, 26 points and double-figure rebounds, so a double-double for him. Joe Girard's had big games in this building. So these guys can get going at any time, but they can't waste time to make it happen.
Girard with a kick to the corner, and it's going to be in and out. Wiggins got a really nice look. He's 38% out beyond the 3-point line. And again, in traffic, Proctor will draw the foul. And so we have a timeout with 15:53 to go. Foul on Beadle. And a 5-point lead for the Blue Devils on Clemson. So, gestures anyway. Proctor at the line, sinks it. 38-32, another one on the way as we bring in Myron.
Both coaches obviously were talking at halftime about what they want to see improve. Brad Brownell said, hey, stay the course, play some great defense down the stretch. And he also said because they're packing the lane, you got to make that extra pass. Jon Scheyer said we have to finish. That has to be the theme of the second half. Also, he said rebounding. We can be a lot better in that area in the second half.
One of the things that Jon Scheyer knows very well, Ian Shefflin is a guy that can pick up extra possessions on the offensive glass. So you have to know where he is at all times. And on cue, Shefflin comes up with the offensive rebound.
Right straight on. Yes, finally, a three-pointer. And they desperately need Joe Girard, number 11, to show up here in the second half.
But it comes off of, just as Myron was talking about, the glass. You got to take care of the glass. Scheyer knows that they can be better, and you always have to account for where Shefflin is.
Joe Girard 1 for 5. And a return by McCain, who's about 42% at the three-point stripe. He's a freshman. And ranked by ESPN the #1 high school player out of California, out of Sacramento. Girard feeding up top. Underneath, Shefflin waited beautifully. Nice hesitation and got the hoop.
And Shefflin's taken over the last couple possessions for the Tigers with PJ Hall on the bench. Brad Brownell has his guy they can play through. And Ian Shefflin, Jon Scheyer raved about Ian Shefflin earlier today, talking about he is the key to their success.
Clemson sticking right with Duke here in the second half. McCain to the baseline, scoops it up.
Jared McCain responding, back-to-back buckets for him on this end of the floor. You talked about being the California Player of the Year. His family's actually moved from California to Durham to be able to be a part of each and every one of his games. Lance and Gina both in the stands here today.
Clark got a good look and absolutely buried a three. His first basket. That cuts it to a 4-point game.
Jack Clark, the veteran, stepping up and delivering when his team needs him the most.
Does set the screen. Now back inside the paint. Off the fake. He's fouled. Shefflin with the personal. As he went for the block. So we look at the first 5 minutes into the second half. And Shefflin picks up his foul. The second. Actually, the Tigers sticking right there. 3 for 9 from the field.
Yeah, Clemson withstanding that run, but you think about the rebounds. You look at Clemson out-rebounding Duke, and you talk about the offensive rebounds throughout that first stretch that has allowed them to cut what was a 6-point halftime deficit, now down to 4. And a chance to cut into that lead even more after the missed free throw by Young.
Filipowski to check in a moment. He's had a very up-and-down day here. And so has P.J. Hall, who is 2 for 8.
And Obi, is just a small thing. We see Filipowski as he's sitting there holding on to that left ankle. Remember, he turned that left ankle earlier in the game, of course, playing through it. But you watch him walk onto the floor. There's a little bit of a limp right there. He's not playing at 100% at this moment.
You talk about Hall having trouble scoring, but he does have 8 rebounds. Duke by 5. Jordan buried a 3 moments ago. Bouncing here for Hall. Lots of contact. Short. Loose into the corner. Out it goes. And it'll stay on this end with 13:23 to go in the contest.
Brad Brownell right in Burke Smith's ear saying that is a foul. There's a lot of contact when P.J. Hall gets the basketball in the painted area. And you see 2 of 9 from the field for P.J. Hall. It's been a struggle, and remember, he made his first 2 shots. He may score in the first possession and knock down a 3, so he hasn't gotten a field goal going in probably the last 20-plus minutes of playing time.
Gerard giving it up for Godfrey. Godfrey on Filipowski. It rolls off the 10. Back right for Hall, and he will lay it in and take the hit.
But look at the exuberation from P.J. Hall after the offensive rebound. Jon Scheyer, as Myron talked about, told his team, we've got to take care of our defensive glass. Another offensive rebound opportunity, and it ends up being an opportunity for a 3-point play as you see P.J. Hall excited about his work in the paint.
Stewart, his second foul. So a chance for 3 here. 9 points for the 6'10 senior. He's had a couple of monster games this season. Middle of January went for 31 and 17 against Georgia Tech. This is the closest that Clemson has been in the second half. And a travel. Duke gives it away, and a travel by Proctor. Only their 5th turnover, but this gives Clemson a chance to tie it or take the lead.
Well, miscommunication between Sean Stewart and Proctor on what they were running offensively. Immediately, Stewart's going to come out of the game in turn for the veteran Ryan Young. But as you mentioned, now you're talking with Clemson with some momentum right here on the offensive end of the floor, looking to tie or take their first lead.
That'll go the other way. A whistle here against Clemson. With 12:48 remaining and trailing by 2. And take a look at this.
Godfrey on the dribble handoff. Oh, man, I tell you what, he was actually moving out of the way. That contact was created by Proctor.
Godfrey with the personal, I guess.
And Brad Brownell does not agree with that call, OB.
Roach. Proctor will back it up. Proctor trying to get loose on the fall away. Hit it! And he hit the deck.
He's been the guy this afternoon for the Blue Devils. And steps up and makes a big basket just to give Duke a little more separation.
Sophomore at 13. Clark will pull, and too strong. 47-43. Proctor bouncing. Filipowski, an extra pass, and a kick. Got 11:57 to go. So it remains a tight one here, just under 12 minutes at Cameron Indoor. Duke by 4.
Contact. He tried to play around the contact. This year he has played through the contact, going through defenders, finishing, especially with the left hand and the pull-up turnaround jumper. So now Filipowski showing off all of his skills throughout the season. However, today has not been the day for him. Only 1 of 6 from the field, 4 rebounds after coming off a 17-point-15 rebound performance in Louisville earlier in the week.
Well, typically he is the dude for the Duke Blue Devils, but at the end of the evening, we'll find out if the dude abides or not, because Clemson has other ideas. 47-43, and a close one. Just under 12 minutes.
Yeah, we've given Duke a lot of credit for the way they've guarded Girard. We got to also give Clemson a lot of credit for the way they bottled up Filipowski.
Hunter goes in strong after they stole the inbounds pass, and he draws the foul.
And how about P.J. Hall making the play, stealing the inbounds pass?
This is 4 on Filipowski. Just pick up his 4th foul.
That's another thing that's hampered him throughout this game. Foul trouble. And a lot of that is because Clemson has attacked him on the other end of the floor. We mentioned the 4 block shots. However, he's picked up now that 4th foul.
So Jon Scheyer will bring on the youngster McCain, and Filipowski to the bench.
But a much smaller lineup, OB. So now who do you have on the floor that can keep Ian Shefflin off the offensive glass? That's going to be the challenge for the Blue Devils with the smaller lineup.
Not with a miss at the line. They make 81% of their foul shots in ACC play, the Tigers do. Will it come down to that? Here's McCain, just into the game. A feathery touch for the triple.
Knockdown shooter, Jared McCain. It doesn't matter if he's been in there or he's coming right off the bench. He's locked and loaded every time he touches the floor.
Had a 20-point game against Pitt, which he went 7 for 14. So he can do that and make a difference. Hunter with the bounce and a shove from behind by Young. He'll commit the personal.
Jared McCain snaking the screen and roll, gets the switch, miscommunication. Joe Girard can't get back in time as he knocks down the 3 ball to the delight of mom and dad.
Then again, mom is not watching. Can't even bear to watch at times. Here's Girard, around and out. He's only made 1 shot today. The former Syracuse star, very cold one. Roach got open, pulls it. The 3 won't drop.
Fortunate break for the Tigers. A little too tricky right there.
Yeah, but a dunk there by Shefflin. Nice save.
It almost cost them 2 points.
And back to a 4-point game. And anybody's contest here in these last 11. Filipowski on the bench for Duke with 4 fouls. McCain on Girard. Trying to weave his way inside closer. In traffic, it rolls home.
We talked about the sophomores earlier, OB, but right now it's a freshman starting to take over. Jared McCain has been the answer for the Blue Devils here in this second half.
Girard kicks for Hunter, the 3. Shefflin, so tough on the offensive glass. Got it free to Girard. Here comes a triple. He knocks it in.
Ian Shefflin continues to make plays. Jon Scheyer talked about him. He raved about him. He gives his team energy. He gives his team effort, and now he gives him another second chance opportunity for Girard to knock down the three.
Now, do you see that advantage on the offensive boards? 10-1 Tigers.
15-0 second chance points, all in favor of the Tigers. That has been the equalizer for them in this game.
Roach can't scoop it in. Shefflin another rebound. And he has 8. Tigers trying to snap a 20-game losing skid in this building. Now with the bounce. Hall in tight, and he'll draw the foul before the shot. Foul on the floor, 9:13 to play.
Ian Shefflin has been a difference maker. He does a great job handling a tough pass to finish it off with the dunk, and then getting the job done on the offensive glass, coming up with the second chance opportunity for Joe Girard, dropping the dime as Girard knocks down the 3 ball, and just like that, it's a 1-possession game here at Cameron.
Joe Girard taken to the bench for a couple of moments, but he's hit a couple of shots here in the second half. Wide open underneath, it's Godfrey.
Great execution on the sideline out of bounds play. Jon Scheyer wants to talk it over as Brad Brownell recognizes his team hung around in that first 5 minutes, OB, and now they've given themselves a chance.
It has made all the difference. They are alive and kicking.
The Tigers with the nice find. Godfrey finishes off and makes it a 1-point game.
Filipowski on the bench. He's in foul trouble. Mitchell had a terrific first half. And a whistle before the shot, so no basket there with 8:56 to go. And a 1-point game. That'll go against the Tigers and Josh Beadle, his second foul. And we'll put Duke to the line for 1-1.
And McCain has been the difference maker for the Blue Devils down the stretch. When you consider the fact Kyle Filipowski playing with those 4 fouls, they have turned to Jared McCain, who has provided a number of buckets as of late for the Blue Devils.
Good foul shooter too, 84%. Got a lot of firepower on the bench, don't you, right now? Roach as well.
And you consider Roach, who wasn't, really was a game time decision coming into this one, wasn't supposed to play today. They prepared to not have him on the floor. And wondering if, that ankle starting to bother him as he sat around, allowing it to get tight.
Filipowski 18 points a game. Roach 14 points a game. Big losses.
Yeah, the 2 leading scorers for the Blue Devils sitting side by side watching these young players try to bring them home here on the home court.
All on a high post. Good feed. Getting it downstairs. That'll roll out for Godfrey. They'll get a second chance at it. Long one. Hunter. No. Went for the 3-pointer. And Young comes away with a big rebound.
But another offensive rebound for the Tigers, just missing the 3.
Proctor kicks outside. Foster, no. Young cradles it, has it stolen away. Taken away by the Tigers. Clock ripped it right out of his hand. Here's Girard, and fouled on it. In the act of attempting a 3, he'll be at the line for 3 shots.
One of the best free throw shooters the ACC has seen over the past 4 seasons. Now goes to the free throw line with an opportunity to tie this game at 54.
Foster with his 3rd. Girard 92%. The 5th-year man out of Glens Falls, New York, drops in number 1 of 3.
And Obi, as we go through the league, you and I have seen a number of teams. Of course, R.J. Davis shooting 95%, leads the league in free throw shooting. But there are a bunch of guys who shoot over 90% throughout the ACC. And we see the numbers for Joe Girard averaging over 20 points per game in the ACC wins, only 11 in the losses. And now with that free throw, he's at 9 points and continues to climb. I think he will have a lot to say about what happens over the remaining 8:13 of this game as to whether the Tigers can walk away from here with a win or not.
Step out for the moment. So who do the Blue Devils turn to now at the 8-minute mark? Locked up at 54.
I believe it's got to be McCain.
McCain penetrates. Yes.
And Jon Scheyer understands when you got a hot hand, you continue to feed it. Running action right there to get the basketball in Jared McCain's hands and allowing him to go make a play.
Connor swings it back for Godfrey. Here's Hall way downtown. Yes! He drills the three. They had not led since the score was 18-15. And now the Tigers up by 1. 57-56 Clemson. McCain swinging for Mitchell. A dribble down. And that rolls off the 10. Right back up. No Young. He couldn't get it.
And that's the second offensive rebound. Ryan Young unable to convert into second chance points. Allows the Tigers to be able to build on their first lead in 25 minutes of game action.
And Scheyer can't wait. He's got Filipowski and Roach ready to check in at the scorer's table. Hall over the shoulder. In and out. Approaching 6.5 minutes to go at Cameron Indoor. Proctor wants that paint again. Young handing off. McCain tied up in the lane. He was blocked out. Here's Proctor with a three. Got it! Duke by 2. And a timeout. 6:06 to go. Duke in front of the Tigers, 59-57.
I think I'm ready for this. Heck yeah. With E-Trade, you're ready.
Today,
The Tigers making the comeback. Only one turnover in the second half has allowed them to get back into this game. Ian Shefflin on the offensive glass, kicking it out to Joe Girard. P.J. Hall stepping up, making big plays. And just like that, we've got ourselves a ball game here in Cameron. But there's been one guy who has stepped up for the Blue Devils all afternoon long. Tyrese Proctor, 4 3-point field goals made in back-to-back games, which ties a career high. 40 points in the last 2 games. And OB, if they want to win, he can't be done yet.
Jared McCain also showing up in a big way in the second half for Duke with 12 points. Joe Girard with 9 since halftime for the Clemson Tigers. He was a non-factor in the first half, but he's back in there again. He gets a touch here. He takes to the paint and they lay it in.
You always love to see what coaches go to out of a timeout. They call a timeout by Brad Brownell to make sure they got a good possession of offense. He goes to Girard, who delivers with the easy layup.
So tied at 59.
And now you see Clemson going zone defensively, throwing a bit of a monkey.
6th-ranked Kentucky taking on Arkansas. That game will begin on ESPN News. And we cap the night with Alabama hosting LSU at Coleman Coliseum, both available on the ESPN app. So Filipowski short rims the first one.
Filipowski now 2 of 5 from the free throw line. It's been a little bit of a struggle for Flip from the field and from the free throw line now as he tries to give the Blue Devils a lead back.
And missed the pair in a tie game. Under 5.5 left. Chase Hunter to the lane. Came free to Hall, and he knows exactly what to do with it. Right back to the 10.
But no fading away from the basket. That was take on any contact that was going to be waiting for P.J. Hall at the rim. He went through the contact on that possession.
All with 15. Clemson by 2. Roach playing on a bad ankle, which he turned this week against Louisville. Slams on the brakes. Mitchell tried the window and draws the foul. So it'll be Mark Mitchell to the line where he makes 73%. Hit by Ian Shefflin. That's 3 on the 6'8" junior.
But Obi, we've got to mention at this point there are a number of ways you lose basketball games. 1, turnovers. Both teams have handled the basketball extremely well. Another one is being out-rebounded, but more importantly, free throws. Duke right now, 12 of 22 from the free throw line. That's something that Jon Scheyer can look back at and say that his team did not do well in this game, especially if they lose another game on their home floor. That's one of the areas they're going to have to look at.
Typically a very reliable foul shooting team. They make 75%. So they've been off today. And And it's to try and retie, and he does that. The 6th time we've had a tie score, 61 all. Gerard swings for Hall. Beadle. Here's Wiggins. And Hall over the top. He commits the foul. That's his 3rd.
But that was great ball movement by the Clemson Tigers. Wiggins got a wide open look. Just unable to knock it down. Brad Brownell has to be happy with that offensive possession, but those are the shots that you're going to have to make. If you want to beat Duke in this building, you've got to take advantage of those easy opportunities.
Will lead to 2 shots for Jeremy Roach, who is the best foul shooter on the floor for the Duke Blue Devils at 86%. Although they have had a bad day at the stripe. Again, Clemson has not won on this floor since January of 1995.
And that was a year that was different for Duke, simply because Coach K was not coaching in 95. I can remember it well because I was playing in 95. And so there were many teams that came into this building that got wins that normally would not.
Duke by 2. Beadle underneath and a whistle. Tough sledding, anything inside on either end of the floor here.
Great cut by Beadle, though, to make himself available.
Number 1 on Roach. So Josh Beadle, the freshman, to the line. Coming into this game, he was just 9 out of 17 at the foul line, but makes number 1. Tigers' next home game, part of ACC Network's doubleheader Tuesday night. Syracuse and BC at 7 o'clock Eastern, then Clemson hosting Louisville at Little John at 9 o'clock Eastern time.
Great ACC basketball action around this time as we see certain teams start to separate themselves. But we've got a log jam right in the middle. You start looking at the group of teams with 3 losses, and the road team starting to have a lot of success in ACC play now.
Duke in the middle of that, what you're talking about, at 5-2 in the conference. Clemson at 3-4 in the ACC. Tied at 63. Roach, so good beyond the 3-point line. At least when he's perfectly healthy. At 46%. Shot clock to 7. Filipowski looking for help. Shot clock down to 3. The scoop shot won't go. The follow won't go by Mitchell. Clemson on a run out. And the scoop on this end will drop for Hunter, and Clemson reclaims the lead. The 9th time the lead has changed hands. 65-63. Filipowski off the fake. Banging into Hall again, and another whistle, and another one.
And now P.J. Hall has 4 fouls, so the both are marquee big men with 4 fouls. Which of these guys is going to be able to stay on the floor down the stretch as our guy Tyrese Proctor steps in from the 3-point line and is unable to finish it. But however, Chase Hunter with the finger roll. Team that needs this win in the worst way. However, the Duke Blue Devils don't want to give away another win on their home floor to an ACC team.
Having lost to the Pitt Panthers rather stunningly 80-76 on this court. So it's Filipowski at the line. And a big sophomore, 7 feet, 250 pounds, will drop in the first one. Just 3 out of 7 at the foul line, which has not been a friend of the Duke Blue Devils, but it was here for the big guy, and he has tied it at 65.
Ryan Young going to sub in for Jeremy Roach. We got to mention Roach playing on a sore ankle. So Jon Scheyer going offensive, defensive substitutions.
McCain going big here. And Shefflin back for Hall. Gerard flips it up and hits two. He's had a solid second half, hasn't he?
He absolutely has. Also made 2 3-pointers, which ties him for Dennis Scott for 3rd all-time in ACC history with 351 threes.
McCain way outside. Proctor. He can't stick it. Filipowski kept it alive. Another effort from McCain and short.
Filipowski fortunate to be still in this game with all the contact he created on that possession, playing with 4 fouls. Not sure that was a smart attempt for Flip. However, did not get penalized for it.
Now the Tigers trying to increase their lead. Under 2:20 to play. And a feed for Hall, denied by Young, who commits the foul.
But that's why Ryan Young is in the game right now, so that he can guard P.J. Hall. And Kyle Filipowski, playing with those 4 fouls, does not have to defend P.J. Hall on the block. And now we see for the offensive end, Jeremy Roach at the table coming back into the game.
Young foul number 3 to put Hall to the line, the senior. Preseason first team All ACC. And hits number 1. Now he's perfect at the line. He's 4 for 4. And as you mentioned, Roach back on, and Young steps out for Jon Scheyer.
And you go back to the beginning of the second half when we showed the struggles that P.J. Hall was dealing with, only 2 for 9 from the field at the time. Now you look up a double-double, 16 points and 10 rebounds for P.J. Hall, who is just stuck to the script and gone about playing his game here in a rowdy environment and giving his team a 4-point lead.
He really quieted the crowd, didn't he? And here's a timeout for the Duke Blue Devils. 17 for Hall. 69-65. Clemson opening up a 4-point advantage with about 2 minutes to go.
And P.J. Hall got off to a great start early, knocked down his first 2, but then struggled in the middle part of this game. Not just 1 air ball, but actually 2 air balls in the short range, but then went over, got coached up a little bit by Brad Brownell, and all of a sudden we saw the P.J. Hall we knew and were expecting to show up in this game. The offensive rebound to put back, knocks down a huge 3, and then playing with force through the paint. P.J. Hall now with a double-double, 16 and 10. Give me 17 and 10.
10 points in the second half. They needed every one of them. They lead at 69-65. Duke Blue Devils all time at Cameron Indoor, 955 wins, just 173 losses. That's 85% that they've won in this building. We came on the year today, though, talking about how unusual it is. They've already been beaten twice here, in November by Arizona, and then just a week ago by the Pitt Panthers. Are they going to fall again today, or can they dig their way back to the lead in the victory? Here's Filipowski. Leaning in, he'll draw the foul and head off to the line again, hit by Shefflin, number 4. 2:06 showing. And a 7-footer to shoot. He has had a rough day, courtesy of the Clemson Tigers. I think it's so huge that Joe Girard showed up in the second half, regardless of how this game finishes up, because he was a non-factor in the first 20 minutes. In the second half, he's been very tough. He has 13 points.
Clemson can't win without him being productive. Jon Scheyer knew that going into this game. Talked about his numbers and the losses. They wanted to limit his production, but they haven't been able to do it in the second half. Kyle Filipowski for the second time misses 2, but great play by McCain coming up, getting the turnover.
Filipowski working hard, short. It has not been his day. Is it going to be Clemson's? Leading 69-65, and the basketball back for the Tigers. Shefflin looking inside, nothing there, and picked off the steal by McCain. He goes in strong and lays it in. A minute and 28. Let's see if they reset the clock. A couple of seconds ticked off there.
Jared McCain, 21 points. Scored 20 in the loss here against Pittsburgh. And he's been the star of this second half for the Blue Devils.
Here's Gerard now. 1:19 to go. Clemson by 2. Gerard won't shoot it. Shefflin bobbled it and gave it away. 1 minute to play. McCain. Step back. Here's the 3. Rebound tipped by Filipowski. He went for the save and saved it back to Clemson. Clark. Proctor gives it up.
Smart play by Clemson. Don't force anything. Use as much shot clock as you can. I would expect to see the basketball in the hands of P.J. Hall right now. Mark Mitchell trying to defend him. That's a tough matchup for Mitchell.
8 to shoot it. Entry pass knocked away by Mitchell. A steal for Duke. 20 seconds to go. And a timeout with 19.2.
Jon Scheyer tried to give his team an opportunity to see if they could get a good look in transition, but when they didn't have anything, a good timeout. And you look at the size of the guards with Hunter and Beadle out there, much bigger in stature than Gerard.
Roach gets it in. Filipowski heading for the lane on the spin. Hit, made it! He hit the shot! And fouled as well! With 15.2 to go. Shefflin with foul number 5. And somehow the 7-footer got it to go.
This is what you respect about Kyle Filipowski. Regardless of the way the evening has gone for him thus far, still finds a way to go out and make a play for his team. Only his second field goal of the game, but it was a huge one for the Blue Devils as it ties the score at 69, an opportunity to give them the lead at the free throw line.
Remember, Corey, he's only 4 for 10 at the line. It has been a fierce struggle today. And he made it when he needed to, didn't he? Duke by 1. Clemson does have 2 timeouts remaining.
Get across half court, you call the timeout and get organized.
With 12.4 to go. And a timeout, Tigers.
Now, Obi, similar to what we saw from the Blue Devils, you do the same thing if there is contact.
So Clark to get it in right in front of the Crazies. Hunter. Hall working on Filipowski. And the lane, and draws the foul with 7.4 seconds.
That's what you want. You're taking your best player, you're saying go out and take us home, and not only does he get to the free throw line with an opportunity to tie and give his team a lead, he also fouls out Kyle Filipowski, picking up that 5th with P.J. Hall attacking the basket. Great execution once again. You get the basketball in the hands of P.J. Hall. Now, had he spun back, Jeremy Roach would have come away with a steal, but P.J. Hall is strong enough to go through the game. Ian Shefflin out of the game for Clemson, which is huge. Even bigger, Kyle Filipowski now disqualified from this game, and we'll have to watch if it does go into the extra session.
So here comes number 1 for the senior, P.J. Hall, trying to tie it. And he does at 70. And now for the lead.
Another offensive defensive substitution. Godfrey coming into the game for Joe Girard.
The Duke Blue Devils out of timeouts. The 6'10", P.J. Hall can put the Clemson Tigers in front. He has 18 points. The second on the way, and the Tigers lead it 71-70. And they take a timeout. 7.4 presence for the Tigers. And is it going to pay off here? Roach is going to inbound. No pressure on him. Here's Proctor. Proctor across midcourt. Proctor looking to get a shot in the air, round the back. He fires it up there, left it well short. There is a whistle. A foul on the play with .4 on the clock. My goodness. With the clock winding down, getting inside a second .4, and a foul here against Josh Beadle of the Tigers.
But this is the reason why you want to go to the basket. You don't want to settle. And there's a lot of contact on there. That's a foul, OB. You look at the left arm of Beadle. It makes contact with the right arm of Tyrese Proctor as he's shooting the basketball. That's a good call. That's a foul. And Proctor now has the pressure on him to go to the free throw line and see if he can win this game.
And the officials, Bert Smith, Lamar Simpson, Tommy Morrissey, also going to the monitor to see if maybe more time needs to be put on the clock here. Less than half a second. Proctor, by the way, is 72% foul shooter. Take another look as he went around the back.
And you look at the contact. The right arm of Tyrese Proctor as he goes to shoot the basketball. Beadle gets contact on that right arm, throwing off that shot. That is the right call.
So this will be 2 shots for Tyrese Proctor, the sophomore from Sydney, Australia. As he draws the foul, they have set the clock at 1 second remaining.
And let's also remember, although Proctor is 2 for 2 at the line, Duke 19 of 31 at the free throw line. They've lost a lot of points at the free throw line throughout this game.
So Proctor to shoot 2. And hits number 1 to tie the game. And another one coming to put Duke in front. What a finish to this one. Everybody holding their breath here. And he makes the pair. Duke leads 72-71. 1 second to go. Gerard trying to get it in. Long pass, knocked around, and Duke cradles it, and they win the ball game. 72-71, the final today at Cameron Indoor. Tyrese Proctor goes to the line.